Hello everyone, welcome to this math tutorial. Much love to you guys for the extent to which you've been watching my videos and supporting my channel. The last time we discussed the 2021 series of JAMB questions and we took question number 1 to 10. This time around we are going to look at question number 11 to 20. And I guess you enjoyed the previous videos and I promise you are going to enjoy these very videos because these solutions are just what for you. So without wasting much time, if you have not subscribed to this channel and you're watching this, I want you to hit the subscribe button so that subsequent release of these videos, you'll be notified of them. Now let's go straight to our board where we will be showing you the solution to this question. So we'll go straight to the board and then let's see how we can complete this first question. Question number 11 says, at what rate would a sum of 100 naira deposited for 5 years raise an interest of 7 naira 50 kobo? So if you are conversant with simple interest, this is a question on simple interest. And remember, you are expected to spend not less than 40 seconds in this question. Now let's go straight to the board and then we'll solve this question. Now take note of the parameters. We are given that in this parameter, we are given that our principal, we are told that our principal is what? We are told that our principal P is equal to what? 100 naira. And we're also told that the time is what? Is for 5 what? Is for 5 years. Now remember that the interest it accumulated I is equal to what? 7 naira 50 kobo. I guess you remembered, and that is the question. Now if we look at the question now say at what rate? That means we are requested to look for the what? For the rate. So what we are looking for now is R, which is what? Which is on question mark. And remember that our simple interest is equal to what? Principal rate times what? Time over what? Over 100. Now our interest is what? That will give us what? This will give us 7 point what? 7.50, right? Equal to what? Principal is what? 100 times rate is what we are looking for times the time, which is what? 5 years, all over what? 100. So without wasting time, we are going to cross multiply. And if you cross multiply, you're going to have 100 times 5 will give us what? 500 times what? Times R equal to what? 7.50 times what? Times 100. Now 7.50 times 100 is just the movement of the decimal point. That will give us 7 what? 750. And this will be equal to what? 500 times what? Times R. Hope you are following. So we'll make R the subject of formula. Our R will be what? 750 divided by what? By 500. Where this will cut this and we'll be left with what? 75 divided by what? Divided by what? 50. And if you, how many 75? 50 here will give us 1. 50 here will give us what? 1 point. That will remain what? 15. So 1 point what? We'll have 1 point what? 1 point what? 5 what? Percent. So if you are in a hurry, the next thing you need to do is just bring out your calculator and point. That will save you time. So you have 750 divided by what? 500, and that will give you what? 1 point what? 1.5. So that is the answer to that question. You're going to have 1 point what? 1.5. So which option is that? 1.5. That's option what? Option C. Now that is the question. So you see, it didn't take us less than what? It didn't take us less than how many minutes we did this? 40. It didn't take us more than 1 minute we did it. So you have to be very fast. Now let's look at question number 12. Question number 12 says, 3 children shared a basket of mangoes in such a way that the first child took 1 over 4 of the mangoes, and the second 3 over 4 of the remainder. What fraction of the mangoes did the third child take? Now, this is a tactical question because it's a question that has to do with what? Word problem. Now, the first thing you need to do is to understand the question properly. And once you are able to understand the question properly, then you can be able to do what? You can be able to solve them. Now, 3 children share a basket of mango. A basket of mango. So let y be the what? Let y be the basket of what? Mango. Let's go straight to our board and then we'll form a new board. Let's go straight to our board. We'll take y, the basket of mango, to be equal to what? Basket to be equal to what? Y. Good. Now remember, we are told that the first child has what? The first child has what? Has 1 over 4 of what? Of the basket. So 1 over 4 of the basket will give us what? Y over what? 4. That's the share of the what? Of the first what? Of the first child. Now the second child, we are told that the second child has what? Let's go back to the question. Remember the question. The question says the second child and the second child 3 over 4 of the what? Of the remainder. So when the first child finished taking this part, the second child took what? 3 over 4 of the remainder. Now, if the first child has taken his own part, the second child is going to take 3 over 4 of what? Of what the first child takes. So the first child took y minus what? Y over what? 4. This is the main mango, the basket of mango, and this is what the first child took. So if we simplify this now, we are going to have y over 1 minus y over what? 4. LCM will give us 4. 4 divided by 1 will give us 4. 4 times y will give us 4y minus this divided by this will give us 1 times this will give us what? Y. So that will give us what? 3 what? Y over what? Over 4. Now 3y over 4, if we bring that value here, we're going to have 3 over 4 times what? 3y over what? Over 4. So if we simplify this further, we are going to have what? 9y over what? Over 16. So the share of the second child is what? 9y over what? 9y over 16. That is the share of the second child. Now let's look at the third statement. The third statement says, what fraction of the mangoes did the third child take? Now that is the question, and that is the question we want to find the solutions to. Now we have the parts of the first child, what he took. We have what the second child took. And what will the third child now take? Remember, the third child is what we want to look at, what the third child will take. Now remember that the total mango is y. So what the third child will take will be what? Let's assume what the third child will take as what? As x. Let's just assume it to be x. So if the first child took y over 4 plus the total mango y will be equal to the second child took 9y over what? Over 16. And we'll assume that the third child will take what? X what? X of the mango. So let's simplify this expression. If we simplify this expression, we are going to have our y to be equal to, simplify this will give us what? 16. 16 divided by 4 is going to give us 4. 4 times y will give us what? 4y, right? Plus 16 divided by 16 will give us 1. 1 times 9y will give us what? 9y plus what? Plus x. So this will give us our y to be equal to, this plus this will give us what? That will give us 13 what? That will give us 13y over what? Over 16 plus what? Plus x. Now remember, our main the main thing we are looking for is a value of what? X. So our x now will now be equal to, this value will come here. That will give us what? That will give us our y minus what? 13y over what? Over 16. So this will be over 1. Let's simplify that. If we simplify that, what are we going to have? Y over 1 minus 13y over what? Over 16. The LCM will be what? Will be 16. 16 divided by 1 will give us 16. 16 times y will give us 16y minus 16 divided by 16 will give us 1. 1 times 13 will give us what? 13 what? Y. So this will be equal to 16 minus 13 will give us what? Will give us 3y over what? Over 16. So our x now is equal to 3y over what? 16. That is the value of y. So of x, the third child we take. So this will be equal to what? 3 over what? 3 over 16. So that is the exact point we are going to have. Do we have that in the option? Yes, we do. The answer is option what? Option D. Option D is the best option, and that is the solution to this question. Thanks so much for watching, and that's the solution to this question. Now let's look at the next one, question 13. So that is that. Without wasting time, let's look at the question number 13. Question number 13 says, simplify and express in standard form 0.00275 times 0.00640 over 0.025 times 0.0 8. Now, if you are given this kind of expression under exam condition, you are required to be very fast, and all you need to do is to convert all first to what? To a standard form, and then simplify the whole numbers and then the what? The fractions, and then you can be able to arrive at your answer easily. Now, see how we are going to go about doing that. Let's go straight to our board and then get another let's go straight to our board and then solve this. Remember the question, you are asked to simplify what? 0.027 times 0.006 what? 40. Now let's go straight to the board. Now we have what? 0.00275. Now that will give us what? 0.00275 times what? 0.00640 all over what? 0.025 times what? 0.08. Now, let's simplify this. Remember, when you count this way in what? In standard form, you are counting what? You are counting negative. But if you count this way, you'll be counting what? Your power will be what? Positive. So in all, we'll be counting what? We'll be counting from our left to our right. So if we count this way, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. Sorry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that will give us what? That will give us what? 275 times what? 10 raised to power what? Minus what? 5 times what? We are going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. That will give us what? That will give us 640 times 10 raised to power minus what? Minus 5. This will be all over what? We are going to have 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. That will give us what? 25 times what? 10 raised to power minus what? 3, right? Times what? We have 1, 2. That will give us what? 8 times what? 10 raised to power minus what? 2. So you see, we've succeeded in breaking all of them down to what? Down to standard form expression. So this will now give us what? 275 times what? Times 640 times what? 10 raised to power minus 5 times what? 10 raised to power minus what? 5. Bringing the expressions together, we will now have what? 25 times 8 times 10 raised to power minus 3 times 10 raised to power minus what? 2. Now, having gotten this expression, we will now have to what? To do the numbers, the whole number separately, and the what? And the powers separately. Remember, in indices, when you have powers, when you have the same base, when values have the same base and the different powers, you do what? A multiplication sign is holding them. You do what? You add the power. So if we have 10 raised to power a times what? 10 raised to power a, the result is going to be what? 10 raised to power a plus what? If this is 10 raised to power b, it is going to be 10 raised to power a plus what? Plus b, right? So we're going to use this concept in what? In finding the solutions to this. So before we do that, let's calculate this. 275 times 640. That will give us what? 275 times what? 640. That will give us what? That will give us 176,000 divided by what? Divided by 25. 25 times what? Times 8. Now let's follow these procedures. We are going to have what? 200. So this will cut this will cut this. So we are going to have what? We're going to have this times what? 10 raised to power what? Minus 5 plus bracket minus what? 3, right? All over what? 10 raised to power what? Minus 3 plus bracket what? Minus what? 2. Hoping that you are following, we will now have what? Our 1760 divided by what? 2 times what? 10 raised to power, that will give us 10 raised to power minus 5 plus minus times minus will give us what? Minus 5 minus what? 3 all over what? 10 raised to power minus times plus is minus, minus 3 minus what? 2. So 1760 divided by what? 2 will give us what? 1760 divided by what? 2. That will give us equal to what? 880. So we'll have what? 880 times what? This will give us what? 10 raised to power what? Minus 8. 5 plus 3 is what? 8. All over what? 10 raised to power minus what? 5. So remember, in indices, when this is 10 raised to power a divided by what? 10 raised to power b, the power will be what? The power will be what? 10. The answer will be 10 raised to power a minus what? Minus b. That's the reverse case of this other one. So that we will use over here. If we use that here, we are going to have our what? 880 times what? 10 raised to power minus 8 minus bracket minus what? 5. If you do that, we'll have our 880 times 10 raised to power minus times minus will give us what? That will give us plus, right? Minus, this is minus 8. Minus times minus will give us plus. So we'll have minus 8 plus what? Plus 3. So this will give us 880 times what? 10 raised to power minus 8 plus 3 will give us minus what? 5, because we have negative 8 with positive 3. So that will give us what? Minus 5. So if you check the option, you cannot find this because we have not breaking down. We have to express this 880 into what? Into standard form too. So when we express this 880 into standard form, what are we going to get? Let's express 880. If we have 880 into standard form, that will give us what? We'll have 1, 2. That will give us 8.8 times 10 raised to power what? 10 raised to power 2. Because remember, we counted what? This way. And when you count that way, it's going to give you what? Positive. So when we do that, we'll now have our what? 8.8 times 10 raised to power 2 times 10 raised power minus what? 5. So this will give us 8.8 times 10 raised power 2 plus bracket minus what? 5, right? So this will give us what? 8.8 times 10 raised power what? 2 minus what? 5. And 2 minus 5 will give us what? 2 minus 5 will give us what? This will give us 8.8 times what? Times 10 raised to power 2 minus 5 will give us minus what? 3. So you see that will be the solution. So when we go back, we're going to look at that. The correct option is what? Is option what? Is option C. Now let's go straight to the next question. The next question says simplify square root of 27 plus 3 root what? 3 root 3. Let's go straight to the board. Now we're asked to simplify that. And to simplify that, we are asked to simplify root what? Root 27 plus what? 3 root 3, right? Let's look at the question once more. Good, that's the question. So if you are given, whenever you are given this question, you need one thing. The first thing you need to do is to make sure that you rationalize in such a way that this denominator will no longer be an irrational what? A rational number. So when we do rationalization, we'll make this what? We'll make this square root. We'll make this root 3, which is an irrational number. We'll make it what? We'll make it rational. So for us to do that, we are going to have, we are going to divide, we are going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by what? We are going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by root 3. So that is one way we can do that. The other way we can also do that is to also make sure that this becomes the same power with what? With this. So 27, when we have 27, what can we multiply? What can we multiply that will give us what? That will give us 27. First of all, that will give us what? 9 times what? 9 times 3. 9 times 3 will give us 27. So the first thing we need to do is to what? Is to do the rationalization of this. Then we'll break this down. So this will give us what? Square root of what? 9 times what? 3 plus, let's rationalize this. That will give us what? 3 over root 3 times what? Root 3 over what? Root 3. Remember, I told you that if you want to rationalize, you what? You multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the stored value. So this will cut what? When you do that, this will now give us what? This will now give us root what? 9 times what? 3 plus 3 root what? Root 3 over what? Root 3 times what? Times root 3. And remember in sword, root 3 times root 3 is equal to what? 3. To give you that same what? Value. So this will give us what? Square root of what? 9 times 3 plus what? 3 root what? 3 over what? Over 3. So 3 will cut 3. That will now give us what? Square root of 9 times what? 3 plus what? Root what? Root 3. So we have simplified it now. The next thing we need to do is to simplify this. So this will give us root 9 times what? Root 3 plus what? Root what? Root 3. So square root of 3, square root of 9 will give us 3. So this will give us 3 what? 3 root 3 plus what? Plus root what? 3. Now we assume that this is 1 because since no value is there, it simply means that it is just what? It's just 1. So since they have the same root, the rules in sort says we can do what? we can add this value and what this value, because they have the same what, they have the same sort value. So 3 plus 1 will give us what? That will give us 4 what? 4 root 3. So that will be the value, the answer to that question. Do we have the option there? Sure, we have the option. The option is what? The best option is option A, and that is 4 root what? Root 3. So let's go straight to question number 15. Question number 15, we are going to consider question number 15. Question number 15 says, three brothers in a business deal share a profit at the end of the contract. The first received 1/3 of the profit and the second 2/3 of the remainder. If the third receives the remaining 12,000 naira, how much profit did they share? So if you can remember, this question is similar to the question we solved, question number 12, and you are going to follow the same similar method in solving that what? In solving this question. So let's see how we go about solving it. Question number 15. Let's go straight to the board. Remember, we'll have to let the profit, let's let the profit, the total profit the brothers get, to be equal to what? X. If X is a total profit the brother have, remember brother 1 has what? Brother 1 has, they say brother 1 has what? He has 1 over what? 3 of the what? 1 over 3 of the what? Of the profit. Now let's see. He has 1 over 3 of the profit, S. So that means his own amount is what? X over what? Over 3. Now brother 2, we are told he has what? Brother 2, we are told brother 2 has 2 over 3 of the remainder after brother 1 has taken his 1 over 3. So let's look at that. He has what? 2 over what? He has 2 over 3 of the what? Of the remainder. So that will give us our x minus what? X over what? 3. That is the value that brother 1 took. So if we simplify x over 1 minus x over 3, that will give us x, that will give us 3, right? 3 will be the common term. That will give us 3. 3 divided by 1 will give us 3. 3 times x will give us 3x, minus 3 divided by 3 will give us 1. 1 times x will give us what? X. So this will give us what? 2x over what? Over 3. So if we bring that here, we're going to have our 2 over 3 times what? 2x over what? Over 3. And that will be equal to what? 4x over what? Over 9. So this is the share of brother what? Of brother 2. Now remember, the question now say brother 3 has what? But if the third brother received 12,000 naira, he received the cash and not the fraction. So if brother 3 receives what? 12,000 what? 12,000 naira. The question is, he should find the what? What is the what? How much profit did they share? Now, this is very simple because we can know the total profit. So the total profit X will be equal to the share of brother 3, that's 12,000, plus what? The share of brother 1, which is in fraction, plus the what? The share of brother what? 2, which is also in what? In fraction. So if we simplify this, our LCM will be what? Will be 9, because if you have LCM of 9 and 3, 3 will go to give you 3, 1, 3 will go to give you 1, 1. So we'll have 9. 9 divided by 3 will give us 3. 3 times x will give us 3x, plus what? 9 divided by 9 will give us 1. 1 times 4x will give us what? 4x. So this total will give us what? 7x over what? Over 9. Very good. So this will now have our x to be equal to what? 12,000 plus what? 7x over what? Over 9. So having gotten this now, the next thing we need to do is to simplify so as to have the value of what? X. So we'll take this value here, we'll collect like terms. This value will go this way, we'll give a negative sign. So that will give us what? X minus what? 7x over 9 equal to what? 12 what? 12,000. So when we simplify that, if we simplify that, we are going to have we are going to have what? 9 to be the common denominator. 9 divided by 1 is 9. 9 times x will give us 9x minus 9 divided by 9 is 1. 9 times 7 will give us what? 7x, and that will be equal to what? 12,000 what? Naira. So let's simplify this further. 9 minus 7 will give us what? That will give us 2x over 9 equal to what? 12,000 naira over 1. So we'll cross what? We'll cross multiply. If we cross multiply, we're going to have our 2x to be equal to 12,000. 12,000 times what? Times 9. 12,000 times 9. So our x now will now be equal to 12,000 times what? 9 divided by what? Divided by 2. So we are going to use our calculator. 12,000, that will give us what? 12,000 times what? Times 9. That will be equal to what? Divided by what? 2. That will be equal to what? 54,000. So we see now that our x is equal to what? 54 what? 54,000. That's the total profit the three brothers shared. Do we have that as part of our options? Of course we do. So the correct option is option what? Option B, 54,000. Let's go straight to the next question. The next question, question number 16. We are going down to question number 20 because we'll be solving 11 to what? To 20. So question number 16, that's the question we are going to solve. If P is equal to what? If P is equal to 6, if P is equal to 6, if P into bracket minus 1, y and Q into bracket 6, 6 are the two ends of the diameter of a given circle. Calculate the what? The radius. Now, this is a question that is under circle geometry, and we are going to use the formula of the what? The distance between what? The diameter of what? The circle to find the solution. There is a formula for that. I'm going to tell you more about that. So let's go straight to the board. We are going to look at the diameter of a what? We're going to look at the diameter of a circle. Remember, we are given 2 points. The first point we are told that is point P and is what? Minus 6, what? 1. And the next one is point Q and it is what? It is 6, what? 6. So if we have a circle like this, the diameter is the line that starts from one end to the other end. If this point is minus 6, 1, this point will be what? 6, what? 6. That is point Q, and this is point what? P. Now remember, the diameter of a circle, according to the equation D will be equal to square root of what? Square root of x2 minus x1 square plus what? y2 minus y1 what? Square. This is a formula for finding the what? The diameter of a what? Of a circle, given what? The 2 points. Now remember, this is what? This is x1, this is what? y1, and this is what? x2, while this is what? y2. Now we are going to simplify and put all these values into the equation. So our D will be equal to what? Square root of what? X2 is what? 6 minus x1 is what? Minus 6 into bracket, all close bracket, square plus what? Y2 is what? 6 minus Y1 is what? 1. All what? Into what? Bracket. So we have our D to be equal to what? General square root into bracket 6 minus times minus is what? Plus. That will give you 6 into bracket square plus what? 6 minus 1 will give us 5 close what? Bracket. So our D will be equal to what? Square root of what? 6 plus 6 will give us what? 12, right? Square plus 5 what? 5 what? 5 square. Now 12 square is going to give us our D will be equal to what? Square root of what? 12 square will give us 1 what? 144 plus 5 square is 5 times 5 which is equal to what? 25. So if you add these two, you're going to get your value. So your 12 square is going to give you 12 times what? Times 12 which is equal to what? Times 12 which is equal to what? 144. 144 plus 25 will be equal to what? 169. So our D is equal to square root of what? 169. So if we find the square root of 169, what is it going to give us? We're going to look for the square root of what? The square root of 169 is going to give us 13. So our D is equal to what? D is equal to 13. Remember, the question says you should find the what? It says you should calculate the radius. Now, for us to calculate the radius, remember that radius is equal to what? Diameter divided by what? Divided by 2. So our radius will now be equal to what? 13 divided by what? 2. Because if you have this diameter, the half of this diameter here to here is the what? Is the radius. So in a diameter, we have two what? We have two radius. So that would now give us 13 divided by what? 13 divided by 2. 13 divided by 2 will give us what? That will give us what? That will give us 6.5. So our R will be equal to 6.5. And that's the what? That's the solution. Do we have the answers in the option 6.5? Yes, the answer is what? Option what? Option D. So you see, we are going gradually. Now let's look at question number 17. Question number 17 says the angle of a sector of a circle radius 10.5 centimeter is 48 degrees. Calculate the perimeter of the sector. Now we are going to look at the perimeter of a sector. Now what do we mean by the perimeter of a sector? The perimeter of a sector is the distance around a what? The distance around a given what? A given sector. And you know that the sector of a circle is just a part that is what? Divided by an angle and what? And an arc. So let's consider this to be what? This to be a circle. If we cut a part out of this circle, this is a what? Let's consider this to be what? An angle. I will cut this part. From here to here is what? This part is the sector of this whole what? Angle. And remember, we are told that here is what? 48 what? Degree. What else were we given? We are given our radius to be what? 10 point what? 10.5 centimeter, right? The radius is 10.5 centimeter. So in this sector, we have two radius 1, and we have radius what? 2. And we have the what? We have an arc that what? That has this what? That has this angle 40 what? 48. Now the question says you should do what? You should calculate the perimeter of a what? Of a sector. Now the perimeter of a sector will be equal to, because it has an angle, the perimeter of any sector will be equal to what? Theta over what? 360. That's the part of the angle times what? The 2 pi times what? The 2 radius times what? Times the what? Pi. That's what is going to give us. So our P now will now be equal to 48 over 360 times what? 2 times what? 10.5 times our pi is always 22 over what? 7. It's a constant what? It's a constant value. So when we simplify this, we are going to have what? Let's simplify this. We are going to have 48 times 2 times 10.5 times 22. Since you are in an examination condition, you just do it straight. Point your calculator straight, which you will be provided with, and you get your answer. Then move straight to the next question. You don't have to waste time on this question. And that will give us what? 22. Our P is equal to what? Our P gives us what? 22,176. 22,176 divided by 360 times 7. That one will give us what? 360 times 7 will give us what? 360. 360 times what? 360 times 7. That would be what? That would be 2520. 2520. So if you divide this, you are going to have what? You are going to have 22,176 divided by what? 2520. That will be equal to what? 8 point what? 8.8. So our P will be equal to what? 8 point what? 8.8. That's the solution we are going to get. Do we have it in the option? Straightforward. The answer is what? Option A. So that is what? 8 point what? 8.8. Now let's look at the next one, question number 18. It says find the length of the side of a rhombus whose diagonals are 6 centimeter and 8 what? Centimeter. Now what is a rhombus? A rhombus is a shape, is a plane shape that has what? All the sides to be what? To be equal. And remember, they say the diagonals are 6 centimeter and 8 what? Centimeter. The rhombus is more like a kite, but in this regard, it has all of its sides to be what? Equal. We have a rhombus to be like this. This is like the shape of a what? Of a rhombus. We have the longer diameter diagonal, and we have the what? The shorter what? Diagonal. Remember, we are told that the longer diagonal A is equal to what? 6 centimeter. The shorter diagonal. Then the longer diagonal 6B is equal to what? 8 centimeter. What are we asked to look for? We are asked to find the length of a side of the what? Rhombus. So we are asked to look for the length of this side, which is x. Remember, the sides are what? The sides are equal. So if this is a 6 centimeter, this will be 3 centimeter, and this will be what? 3 centimeter. If this is the 8 centimeter, this will be what? 4 centimeter, and this will be what? 4 centimeter. So here we are going to get what? We're going to get a right angle what? Triangle, which we have this side to be 4, this side to be 3, and this side to be what? This side to be x. Remember, you are asked to find the values of what? X. That's the side of the what? The side of the rhombus. So if we do that, we are going to have what? We're going to use what we call the Pythagoras theorem to look for the side of a right angle triangle, because it's a right angle triangle. All right, Pythagoras theorem say the states that the hypotenuse or the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the what? The square of the sum of the other two sides. Take note of that. The square of the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. So we'll have our x squared to be equal to 4 times 4. 4 square will give us 16, plus 9 square, 3 square will give us 9. So this will give us what? Our x squared to be equal to 16 plus 9 will give us what? That will give us 20 what? That will give us 25, right? So I will square root. We're going to square both sides. So if we square both sides to remove the square, that will be equal to what? We're going to square root both sides to remove the square. That is it. So this square will cut this. So our x will be equal to what? Square root of what? 25. And our x will be equal to what? 5. We have that in the option. We should. So our correct option is option B, which is what? Which is 5. So let's move straight to the next question. The next question, question number 90, which is the penultimate question. Question number 90 says, each of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 140 degree. How many sides has the what? The polygon. Now take note of this question, is very tricky. Now, a regular polygon is a polygon that has all the sides to be what? Equal. Now, take note of that. Now, the number of degree in each angle of this regular polygon with n sides has a given formula. And what is the formula? The formula is equal to interior angles equal to 180 into bracket n minus 2 over what? Over n. How do we know that? Let's go straight to the board and then we'll find out that. With those parts in mind, I want you to note this so that whenever you are given anything on polygon, you should what? You should be able to solve it. So the interior angles of any polygon, the interior angles is equal to what? 180 into bracket n minus 2 all over what? All over n. Now, the interior angles, the question told you that the interior angle is what? The interior angles of a regular polygon is what? Is 180. So we are giving this angle to be what? 140. So we have 140 degree to be equal to what? 180 into bracket n minus 2 all over what? N. Remember the question, you are asked to find the what? Find how many sides the polygon does what? Does have. So if we cross multiply this, we are going to have what? 140 times what? Times n equal to what? 180 times what? N minus what? 180 times what? Times 2. So if we simplify this, we are going to have what? 140 what? 140 n minus what? 180 n equal to what? 180 n minus what? 180 times 2. 2 times 0 will give us 0. 8 times 2 will give us 16. 2 times 1 will give us what? 2 plus that one, 3 what? 360. So if we do that, we are going to have, this will come over here to give us what? 140n minus 180n equal to minus of what? 3 what? 360. So this minus this, remember 140 is less than 180. So it's going to give us a negative what? It's going to give us a negative value. So that will give us what? 40n minus 40n equal to minus what? 360. So this minus will cut this minus. So we'll have our what? 40n equal to what? 300 and what? 60. So our n will be equal to what? 360 divided by what? By 40. 0 will cut 0. What will remain? 36 divided by 4 will give us what? That will give us 9. So this interior, the regular polygon will have what? Will have 9 what? Will have 9 sides. Is that here in the option? Yes, it is, and that is question number what? Question number, that's option number A. Now we've come to the final question of this tutorial. We're going to look at question number 20. While in the subsequent video, we'll now take 21 to what? To 30. Now, question number 20 says a cylinder pipe made up of metal is 3 centimeter what? Thick. if the internal radius of the pipe is 10 centimeter, find the volume of metal used in making 3 meter of the what? Pipe. Now, whenever you are given this question, the first thing you should do, let's go straight to the board, is to look at the parameters you are given. Understand the question very well. Now, you are told that you have a cylinder, and that cylinder has what? They told you that the cylinder is made up of made of metal, is 3 centimeter thick. If the internal radius is what? The internal radius is 10 centimeter. Find the volume of the metal used in making 3 what? In making 3 centimeter 3 meter of the what? Pipe. So if the internal radius of the whole pipe is what? They said is what? Is 10 centimeter. And the metal is 3 centimeter, is made up of 3 centimeter thickness. So what we need to do is, we are given two radius here. The first radius is the what? Is the internal radius of the pipe, and that is what? Small r, that is 10 centimeter. Remember, this should be 13. This should be 13. That's a typographical error. So we have 13 centimeter thickness, and the internal radius is what? The internal radius is 10. So let's go straight to the board. So we have this internal radius, which is from here to here, to be what? 10. And this main radius, which is from here to here, is what? Is 13. Why this is what? This is 10. So the volume of a cylinder, if we are given this cylinder, the volume of this cylinder, remember that the volume of a cylinder is equal to what? Pi of r square what? H. Now remember, this cylinder has an internal and an external what? Radius, and we are told that the what? The length of the cylinder we have now is what? 3 what? Meter. We need to convert that 3 meters, because these other parameters are in centimeter and this is also in centimeter. So 3 meter to centimeter, we have 100 centimeter, making what? 1 meter. So 3 meters will be equal to 3 times what? 100, which is equal to 300 what? 300 centimeter. So that 3 meter will give us 300 centimeter. So our volume of that will now be what? Pi into bracket the larger radius minus the smaller what? The smaller radius square times what? Times the height, right? So this will give us the total volume will be equal to, remember, the length, which is the h, is what? Is 300 what? Centimeter. So this will give us 22 over what? 7 into bracket. The larger radius is 13 square minus 10 what? 10 square, right? Times what? Times 300, which is the height. If you stand this cylinder this way, that will be the height of the what? That will be the height of the what? Cylinder. So our VC now will now be equal to 22 over what? 7 times 13 square will give us 169, right? Minus 100, all multiplied by what? 300. So let's look at that. This VC will now give us what? 22 over 7 into bracket. This minus this will give us 69 times what? Times 300. So 69 times 300, our VC will be equal to 22 over what? 7 times what? This times this will give us what? 27. That will give us what? That times that will give us 27 times 69 times 300. Let's bring out our calculator in order to avoid mistake. 69 times 300, that will give us what? 20,000. That will give us 20,000 700. 20,700. So our VC is equal to what? This times this. Now let's look at what the solution is like. Remember, the solution is in pi, so we are going to leave our answers in pi. So let's go back. That means this is going to return back to what? Pi times what? 20,700. So our VC is equal to what? Our VC will be equal to what? Our VC now will now be equal to 20,700 what? 20,700 pi. 700 refused to stay. 700 pi. So that will be the what? That will be the answer. Is the answer in the option? Sure it is. And that is what? Option D. So you see, this is the answer to question number 11, 11 to what? To 20. In our subsequent video, we are going to consider question number 21 to what? Question number 21 to 30. Don't miss that video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button so that once that video is published, you'll be notified of it. Once more, I say thanks so much for all your support on this very channel, and I always wish you the best. Thanks so much and continue watching us. Thanks.